I need to start recording this. Let's see what the
You ready?
Go on then.
I'm back.
Naughty.
Right, here we go. We are looking very professional now.
We are, aren't we?
I tell you.
Exactly.
We're
Check
all
us out.
matchy.
Check us out. What about that hoodie? Was it too big for you?
Oh no, that's perfect, mate. It's perfect.
Yeah,
Thank you. Yeah,
that's all right.
I must have either grown or or hoodie sizes got smaller, but
Yeah.
Gains, isn't it?
gains. Oh,
Welcome
shit.
back. Episode 21, Trials Talk podcast. Quite a bit to cover since the last episode. Think that was just before Japan, just after Scotland. So I know Japan was quite an epic adventure.
It was quite moist. It was
Yeah,
quite
quite
moist.
moist, quite moist. So we'll start off there. We'll do a bit of catch up. Um, yeah, that's us. We'll just crack on. So yeah, fill us in on Japan then, Matt. I know you were quite vocal about that when you came back.
Japan. Right, where do you start with Japan? I'm not a huge fan of Japan, I must admit. I think the atmosphere of the event is incredible. I think the venue is really cool, and the whole sort of everything about Japan is really cool. I'm just not a huge fan. I think it's a really long way for not a great amount of time, and especially now with the format how it is. My God, you're there, so you arrive. Obviously, Thursday's chill. Thursday's a great day because you're just ripping bikes to bits, putting all your stuff on them. You have a bit of a spin around the car park, and you're ready to rock. But I just think with the format how it is, these far afield trials just aren't feasible because they're just you spend more time traveling than you do riding your bike. It's just insane. Like you, I mean, what do we have normally? It's like it's less than 3 hours for the first lap of a trial, and the second lap is considerably less. And it's just I don't know. I just don't think the new format lends itself well for from like an incentive point of view for people to go and do them
Yeah.
because
Yeah,
you're not. What do you get out of it? I
I
mean,
was
like,
surprised how many entries there were just for the expense involved with going for like
mm,
2
it was
days.
quite well supported this year. I thought
Yeah.
like there was a lot of faces
seemed to
that you
be.
saw that you didn't you like because you used to like 2 years ago, 3 years ago when we were going to Japan. You only saw let's be honest. I think you only really saw the riders that were being supported from factories. You
Yeah, and
didn't
like
you
Yeah,
didn't
point
see exactly. You didn't see your dad and your son teams. Like obviously excluding people like Harry and Dan and stuff like because obviously they've
yeah.
got that next little step above with the support from the factories. But you never used to see your privateers, whereas now, well, this year certainly there was so many more like, and it was nice to see. To be fair, like you had Sam Vick and his old dad, for example. The other Norwegian guy on the beat, I can't remember his name at the moment. Um, yes, that was it.
Yeah.
A few of the German boys, and that part of it was really cool to see. And it was also sort of cool to see a lot more electric bikes being involved this year. Not that I'm a huge fan of the whole electric bike thing, but the yeah, that was cool to see. It was cool to see multiple Yamahas being ridden and stuff like that. But yeah, the trial itself was something else really. But yeah,
yeah.
From the outside looking in, I've never been. It doesn't look like it's really changed for like a decade or more either.
yeah. So I mean,
Changed
in
things
the whole,
across the
in the
world.
whole time that I've been going to Montegi, like we've never gone across the rice fields and down into the bottom to the massive hill climbs where the boys used to go.
Yeah, like
It's
early
you
2000s.
almost like from the spares sort of side of part of having a minder's bike, you could almost do it without a minder's bike at this point
Yeah,
because the sections are so close together. You've got sections one to well, what did we have this year? Sections 1 to 3 were all together. Then you had to ride probably 200 meters. Sections 4 to 6 together.
mm.
and then we had 7, 8, 9 along one bank side. You went up onto like the next level of the bank, and then the rest were all there. We didn't even have one near the podium like we had last year. But
looks quite safe. They're all very similar sections as well, aren't they? By the look,
very much so. I mean, in fairness to them, they did move a few bits around this year, but the 2 previous years were like you were basically riding the same sort of sections, really, in my opinion.
Yeah,
where have all
I
the
think
where have all the waterfalls gone and things from years ago? Where they used whether they were man-made or not, they used to have water features and all sorts there, didn't they?
yeah.
Yeah. So section 12 this year was had been section 11 in the 2 previous years, and like you say, they're not even turning the water on them anymore. And I know the weather ruined it for them this year. It did, and they knew it was coming. To be fair to them, they knew it was coming because we walked the sections in glorious sunshine on the Friday. And so we're all there, like, it's steady, isn't it? And I remember I was part of a conversation with Hemingways and a few other guys with a few of the FIM people, and all of us were like, "You need to stiffen it up. You need if this rain isn't coming, this is too easy because it was going to come down to like fastest man, but it was." And in the end, my God, like we were sharing some of the sections we were sharing with the TrialGP boys were like them guys weren't getting through them. It needed some serious modifications making for the Sunday, and they did to a point. But I feel like the FIM could have done a better job of running that event than what they did, in my opinion. And I'm sure I'm not the only person to think that.
Yeah, and as you say, it's a long way to go. Okay, yeah, look, nobody can do anything about the weather,
No, of course.
but it's a long way to go for how much riding? Not an awful lot of riding, really.
Yeah.
Even if they did, I don't know if it would be, well, it's just going to be more expensive. It doesn't really matter what way you go about it. But even if there was another round somewhere out in that direction, that they could do
Yeah.
like a double header weekend or something, 2 weekends in a row. I don't know, Australia, Japan, whatever, and come up with some career deal for
Yeah.
the FIM and whatever.
Yeah.
That probably would be some way of
It's
helping
difficult.
with the value for money, maybe.
Yeah.
But that aside, saw a video of a minder actually bear hugging a bike whilst sliding down the section. Can't think who that was. It might have been.
Just sounds like something stupid that I would do.
Yeah, funny enough. Yeah.
Might have even been
Yeah.
head.
To be honest, so it was a bit of a weird one that. So the section itself actually to walk didn't look that horrendous in comparison to some of the others in the conditions. And Harry going into it, to be fair to him, was pretty confident. He was happy it was going to go and whatever. And then so I think the couple of riders before us, so we had George Hemo just in front of us. Unfortunately, got pretty much to where Harry did and bailed off, and the bike came all the way back down. And again, with the format how it is now, you haven't got time for breakages. You just haven't. Like this, that can ruin your day, ruin your season almost as well. Because if it's a big problem and you're having 10 points, 10 points can put you from bloody third to 19th.
Yeah,
as me and Harry found out in the last
yeah, I was going to
round.
say, yeah, we'll come on to that when we talk about Corsica.
Yeah, so I just didn't really have a lot of choice. I sort of had it, and then Harry didn't let go, and it just came straight out of my hands, and I'm like, right, I can still get this. And as I went to grab the front wheel, both my feet went. Next thing, I'm laying on the floor, and the bike's there, and I'm like, oh. Yeah. And luckily managed to sort of get it, and we were both pretty unscathed. I think Harry hurt his wrist a little bit because when he first let go of it, he'd like sort of trapped it between the bar and the first rock. But yeah, it was it's funny. I've had a lot of messages about that one, and it
Yeah.
it was intentional to grab it, but it wasn't intentional to end up on my ass. That was
Really?
Oh,
yeah. So, but I
no
was
shit.
I was happy that I got it because it was one of them horrible
Yeah.
where the bike landed. It was one of them horrible ones that it hit in every possible
Yeah.
angle you can imagine. But yeah, so that was that one.
The
It shows how.
commentator enjoyed it too. He was like, "What a job from the minder there. That is above and beyond."
Yeah, it was funny because we were stood at the hotel in the evening, and I didn't even know obviously it had made it to the live stream or anything like that. And then we were stood waiting for dinner, I think it was, and someone went, "Oh, Matt, have you seen this?" And they pulled it up, and obviously I heard what Martin Ashton was saying, and I thought it was quite nice actually, quite nice for it's
Yeah.
nice for minders to get a bit of recognition because I feel like it's one of them jobs that we all put not as
Mm,
much as the riders in, but we all put everything into it because if you're not doing it right. In
no.
my opinion, like
Yeah.
and it's one of them that for that weekend you put your rider in front of yourself. You don't drink, you don't do this, you don't do that because you just don't think. You think of that person and
Mm.
that bike the whole bloody time. So
That's,
Yeah.
I was just going to say it's
um,
even more important with the format, like you say, how tight the time is. It's
yeah,
becoming more important all the time, isn't it?
you've
Like
got to
there's
be on it. Yeah,
from it was one of the later rounds, but Jamie Miller's had a like an amazing catch as well, which could have ended Jack's day. And
yeah,
like it's mad how
Yes.
important it is now.
yeah. San
Yeah.
Marino. That was so. That
Yeah,
was. I think it was section 10 or 11.
and it was just like going
And
in his hand like this.
yeah, that's it. And Trial 2 had to do the same. There was a couple of lines at that one.
Ah,
And I was really surprised actually that the boys were doing it from where Jack went from.
mm,
But yeah, what a catch from Jamie. Because like you
yeah,
said, when it's snatching at you, you're just a
horrible.
passenger at that point. You've just got to
Yeah.
like grit your teeth and just hold on to it. But
I'd have just been throwing it at Jack. Go and sort that out yourself, sunshine.
yeah, I think a few of the other minders thought the same and did the same. But
Yeah. Um. So I mean, other than the weather, I mean, the result, I'm guessing in Japan probably went pretty much true to form. Tony obviously in Honda's back garden.
yeah,
Um. Wanted to win there. Trial two, Jalabert got a wee victory there for Honda as well. So everybody in Honda, I'm sure, went home very happy. What have we had since then? It's been Corsica and then San Marino,
yeah, a couple of
wasn't
warm
it?
ones.
Yeah, totally
Warm's an
opposite end of the
understatement.
scale. Almost. Although it didn't look, from what people were wearing in Japan, it didn't look like it was cold. It was just very wet.
Yeah, I mean, it's a funny old place because it's a really humid place.
Yeah.
It was one of them. You weren't cold, but you weren't. Well, I personally wasn't hot. Like I think I wore a waterproof all day, but all day, both days, or just certainly on the Saturday. And you were just soaked to the skin. It was just like the weather was just not kind. It was just not nice. And I've been to Japan in the rain before, and it's been sort of bearable, but this time it just felt like big wet rain.
Yeah.
It was
Proper.
yeah, proper rain.
Mm.
Put it this way: you'd get to Tuesday in the Scottish in that sort of rain and go, not sure I'm enjoying this anymore. You'd get to Tuesday,
Yeah, been there.
yeah,
Been there. Done that.
Mm.
Yeah, so Corsica, the standout thing from Corsica, well, there was two things actually. There was Hugo de Vries's crash.
Oh God,
Um,
yeah.
yeah.
yeah, and also what do you call the young Montesa lad that wiped out his teammate that wiped out um
Pablo.
Marcelli
Was it
bike?
Pablo in that
Or was
video?
it was
I
it
couldn't tell if it
Canales?
was
I think it was
Canales.
I think
Canales,
it
was
might
it?
be Canales. I think you're right.
I thought it was Canales, and then someone else told me it was Pablo.
I think it was Canales. I think you're right, Matt. Actually,
Yeah,
Yeah, I thought it was Canales when I first saw it. But I mean that could have gone
yeah, that was a big
very
one.
wrong as well. But I mean,
Head-
yeah.
I have asked the question on social media afterwards after I saw that about the kill switch being
Mm.
on the left hand.
I
Would it
saw
not
that
be
actually.
better? Would
Yeah.
it not be better to have the kill switch on the right hand? Because the last thing, when you fall off a bike, generally speaking, the last thing you let go of is the clutch.
Yeah. Okay.
And
Yeah.
um,
Yeah, I suppose you
Alex
could take
Wig
your hand
actually,
off the throttle side, couldn't you then as well,
yeah,
and keep
you can hold the clutch, you can, and then take your hand off the throttle, and then the bike stopped. That's it, perfect, no problem.
Mm.
But
don't know if you'd like.
Alex Wig actually messaged to say that that's the way it's done in Speedway. It's on the throttle side.
I'm
So if
sure
anything goes wrong,
I also read a comment of Wiggy saying that his old man put it on the right hand side on one of his bikes.
on his gasser, yeah,
Yeah. So
yeah,
I genuinely only know one person that runs the kill switch on the right hand side, and it's Brett Harvard.
I've
right.
I've not seen anyone, so
No, I
I,
haven't actually seen anybody, but yeah, I just think that's got to make sense.
so come on
If
then.
I am need to be on
So
there,
you put that on social media. Which side do you run yours?
no, on the clutch. But but that's because I've got a button that starts the bike on the other side, you see. So I'd need to swap them around. But anyway, I don't crash, Matt. Sure, you know that. So
Uh,
I
Neither
don't
do
need
I actually. I don't ride
I
anymore.
don't need the
I
kill
don't
switch.
ride.
I don't need the kill
my
switch. I
crash.
forget to put the bloody thing around my wrist anyway,
Yeah, me too.
usually. Anyway, right. So yeah, Marcelli took a 4RT to the side of the head. Um, De Vries in the, I'm guessing, was that the speed section thing after the trial?
Yeah, it was that power rubbish
Power
section
section,
that we
sorry,
do.
yeah, power
Yeah.
section.
Oh,
Um, somebody said it might have been you last week at Inch Perfect. Somebody said he broke his jaw
Yeah, apparently. I think he had it was either
fractured jaw.
four or six stitches, and he'd fractured his jaw.
unbelievable.
Yeah,
He
And
looked KO'd as well. Like in that video, he gets up, then he and starts
oh, he got
wobbling.
up. He was
yeah,
properly. I mean,
he was out of it,
that's the
wasn't
sort of the next sort of thing I was going to raise there was, I mean, if that had been rugby or whatever else, he'd have been straight off for a head injury assessment and he
he?
wouldn't
Yeah,
have been competing the next day. But
It's big in like downhill mountain biking, isn't it now?
yeah,
Concussion.
anything like that, downhill skiing, you name it, you take a blow to the head, it's head injury
Great.
assessment. And if you're diagnosed with any sort of mild concussion, even, you don't compete for, I think it's 7 days.
yeah, yeah. I think
Um,
in the ACU it's 10 days, isn't it?
Possibly.
If you've
Yeah.
been if you've knowingly been knocked out for whatever reason for whatever period of time, I'm sure you can't ride for like 10 or 14 days or something.
Yeah. I was very shocked to see him in the results the next day.
Yeah, I was. Yeah.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, fair play to him for,
Mm,
but he probably shouldn't have been there.
yeah,
He's had a fair
Um,
number of crashes and injuries, isn't he?
he has.
yeah,
I
Probably
mean,
used
how
to.
old's Hugo? He's got to be what, early 20s at this point.
Yeah, I guess
no,
like
no, he'd be older than that. He'd be mid-20s, I
23,
think.
23
23.
now.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So knocking on the door of his mid 20s.
Yeah,
And to
and he's
think where
done knees,
he's had some
legs.
serious injuries
He's
in
hardly made it through a season, has he?
no,
Without
no,
Yeah,
like some bad luck like that. It's
but
mad.
some
yeah,
people, you get people like that. But I mean, there's
Mm.
like in all forms of sport, there's people that just seem to be sort of injury prone.
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I
Mm.
don't know what the procedure is at the FIM for that there, but somebody obviously didn't see fit, or maybe I don't know, maybe talking out of turn, maybe he did get
Yeah,
a medical assessment, but you would think if he was in hospital, we got stitches or something, then maybe they did assess him
Yeah.
for concussion or whatever. Maybe he wasn't. Maybe he's
Yeah.
absolutely fine. But
To be honest,
just
being brutally honest, I feel like if the FIM get the payday, they don't really care. And I know that's quite a cynical way of sounding, but I feel like having been in the circuit for long enough at this point, that is how it feels to me. They're just
yeah,
you've got a few great guys that are really passionate, want the best for all the riders and stuff, and you've got the rest that just want the cream off it. And I feel like that is what's ruining it for so many riders, teams, and everything.
yeah.
And I know that
Um,
sounds really morbid and horrible, a horrible thing to say about, and I'm not knocking trials, but I feel like there are a certain amount of people that wear an FIM t-shirt over them weekends that are just single-handedly killing the sport.
Yeah, yeah. I'll not mention any names, but at the Spanish round, I witnessed an FIM official sitting at the bottom of a section whilst the minders were standing on the tape so the rider could reverse over it.
Yeah.
And he actually got up and walked and sat on a rock with his back to the section.
I'm not surprised. It honestly doesn't surprise me at all.
Which I just thought was shocking, actually, at the time.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Yeah.
none of that nonsense. Right, so Corsica,
What a place for a trial, I'd just like to say.
unreal.
Oh
Yeah.
my God.
Amazing. Yeah.
I've never been to Corsica, but I've been to Sardinia a couple of times, the
Yeah.
island below it.
Yeah.
And you walk around, you drive around the island just going, oh my God, they should have a trial here.
Yeah.
Unbelievable.
Yeah. Mega.
Um,
Absolutely mega.
yeah. It looked impressive on the live footage, and it's rare that stuff looks, on videos, it always makes it look flatter or smaller or whatever, but it
Yeah.
looked impressive. So I'm sure in real life it was even more so.
I
Mm.
bet it's pretty weird to ride on that like cliff rock, whatever rock it was. It looked like it was like
Yeah.
grippy, which is always like horrible. It's actually like horrible to ride sometimes,
It's
isn't it?
that snatchy, horrible, like
Yeah.
grabs the front wheel and
Holds your
Yeah.
just
tires
fighting
forever.
it all the time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, it's like
Um,
that volcanic sort of whatever it
Yeah.
is, basalt rock.
yeah.
That's it.
No, it was a mega event. Like it was really, really cool. I think the event organisers did a great job. I think they possibly expected a little bit too much from the riders at times. When autograph sessions what felt like every half hour, and we got a picture every. That was something else. But the sections itself and the event, like from Saturday through to Sunday, I thought worked really, really well. It was so cool being like the location of the paddock B versus paddock A. It was a bit of a trek to the podium, which was a bit of a shame, but the podium was in a really, really cool place. And just the sections that they'd set, they were just a really good mixture of technical, big, right sort of length. They were arguably a little bit long in places. But again, that's dropping it down to a minute. You'd be amazed how it's weird. Sometimes you're amazed how much you can fit in a minute, but then other times it's just like, wow, a minute is not long to do all of this, especially when it gets technical. Because
lining up's where it goes, isn't it?
exactly, yeah. You haven't got time for a wobble. It's like you've got to land perfect go. It's strange. And then you watch some of the really, really good boys and they don't look quick, but they're mincing it.
Efficient, aren't they?
Yeah, exactly. But it was cool because we got to like section, I think it was section 8, and the terrain sort of changed slightly. So you were sort of off the really grippy sort of grabby rocks, and you were onto like a bit more looser sort of bankings with like, and it was like steep rocks on looser sort of ground, which was quite cool because it was almost like riding 2 different trials, if you know what I mean.
Always good to get a bit of variety.
Yeah, exactly. But there was a lot of crashing gone on that weekend. There was a lot of sore-looking riders, sore-looking minders, and sorry-looking bikes. It was, and I feel like when you throw the heat into it as well, I feel like a lot of our British lads sort of struggled with fatigue and fitness with that because it just saps it out of you. Whereas the Spanish boys in that situation just fully came to life. They were
you knew it was warm because on the live footage, I think it was the last section right down by the water.
Yeah.
Miguel Jalabert had an ice pack on the back of his neck, and I'm thinking, flip me, if it must be warm if you're
doing that.
Yeah. It just sounds silly, but it was that warm. Like tires were folding, and I heard we were chatting with Mickey at the end of section 12 on. It was I think it was the Saturday or the Sunday, one of the two, and he got Ramon, his minder, to change his tyre at section 7 on the second lap because he was like, it just feels horrendous. So he had a brand new tyre on go at section 7 on the second lap. And do you know what I mean? Just to have some sort of normal feeling with his bike again.
It's weird because you end up running like, I don't know, people, but you end up running like 6 psi or something like that, don't you? Just to get it to feel like there's some support.
Yeah, I think we were on 5.25 in the back, or I can't remember exactly, but certainly a lot harder than what you'd expect in those. Well, just to ride trials, like
there was one in Portugal. I did. It was like 40 odd degrees, and that was just, you wouldn't even think it, but like you put 4 in, it was everywhere.
Yeah.
IRC.
Yeah, IRC.
Really awesome.
You have to run 8 psi on those things. They're unreal. Anyway, right. So results. Everything else was fairly, again, true to form there, wasn't it? I don't think anybody. Harry had a good ride one of the days, didn't he?
Yeah, I mean, Harry's having some really good rides at the moment. He's just, he's finding it quite hard to string a whole weekend together. Bless him.
I mean, he's got the leader. He's not doing bad, is he?
Oh yeah, no, he's doing good. He's doing. I mean, you look at Harry's progression through this winter is insane. Yeah, he's doing really, really well. But just, yeah, it's just trying to get him to string a whole weekend together at this point. And I think the moment he does, I think he's gonna get up on that podium. I hope so. Anyway, I feel like he deserves it.
Yeah.
Both him and his dad, they've put so much work in over the last decade, let alone what they're doing.
It's a fair commitment. Any of that sort of carry on, and it's an expensive season, particularly this year with Corsica. Effectively, was another flyaway.
May as well have been
because it's quite difficult to get to. Japan and then America in the middle of July as well. So like 2 flyaway rounds and one sort of might as well have been a flyaway. So it's a fair
hard
commitment.
When it's a world championship, otherwise it's a European championship, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, I don't
give people in them places the chance to get him into it, and it's like a gateway for them to start doing the series, isn't it? Maybe on the flip side.
Yeah, I mean, I don't disagree. I don't disagree with that because it always makes me laugh. You know, you go to America and they've got like the World Series of baseball, but never goes outside America.
Yeah.
So like, well, you know, flip me. But yeah, no, I think in order to make it a world championship, that's you know, you can't really call it a world championship if it's just around Europe. But
takes the sport to more people as well, doesn't it?
Yeah, definitely.
But the FIM probably need to do, I don't know, maybe they do behind the scenes, but they probably need to do something to make it a little bit more affordable. Like
a bit of help,
an agreement with DHL or something on shipping bikes or something like that. You know, every little helps, as somebody said famously once.
Oh, no, it's all very political. It's all very political, and it's all about getting votes for the presidency, and it's not about trials anymore. It's not about supporting the riders. It's not.
No, at that level,
it's just the money. It's just the money making thing, and it's really, really sad to see. And I understand ultimately it's a business. Everything is, isn't it? Let's be fair. And I completely understand that people have got to make it pay, but I feel like the sport is suffering at this point.
There is that.
And so are the riders.
They're there to make it financially viable, but without riders, there's no viability to it, is there? So they should give some back.
Exactly.
Yeah,
exactly. Without the FIM, there's no riders, but without riders, there's no FIM. So
exactly,
they need to work together.
But unfortunately, until all the riders get together and go, look, we're not supporting your championship anymore until you change X, Y, and Z, which is never going to happen. Nothing's going to change.
You'll never get them all to agree on that.
No, exactly.
There'll be one that turns up and wins.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it happened. Oh, I'm gonna say in the late 80s in Italy at a 500cc road race Grand Prix, and all the riders boycotted it, apart from one Italian who
It
won the
does
race.
sound pretty Italian, that, to be fair.
Pier
One of those.
Francesco Chili, um, his one and only Grand Prix victory, and nobody else. Basically, there was him and a couple of other wild card Italians, and that was it. Kevin Swanson, Wayne Rainey, and Eddie Lawson, they all boycott the race. Anyway, there you go. We digress. Um, right. What was after San Marino? That's the
San
one.
Marino.
San Marino, right.
Yeah. First thing I'm going to say is what a ride. Race one, day one, Jack Peace. Unreal.
Yes. Insane.
Unbelievable. So the only person he hasn't beaten in TrialGP is Tony Bow. That's pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
The level that Jack has jumped up this year over the winter is incredible.
yeah,
Whatever he's doing, or whatever he's found that he's doing for his training is working, and he just needs to keep doing it. He's smashing it. Fair play to him.
He needs to bottle it and sell it, whatever it is.
Yeah, definitely.
But yeah, no, yeah, as you say,
One of
his
the
level is
best
going up.
first years anyone's had moving up, isn't it? From trial two.
It's got to be up there, hasn't it? It's got to
Yeah.
be up there with one of the best.
Yeah, it is quite a debut season so far. And I think maybe some of that is possibly down to spending the winter with Raga at the Raga school and doing all that.
Yeah, definitely.
So probably a bit of a shout out there too. So, but anyway, other results. We touched on it before about minders being very important and time being like a real sort of killer at the minute if anything goes wrong. And obviously, I don't know the full ins and outs of how the incident occurred, but Harry Hemingway had an unfortunate incident where the bike ended up in about 5 feet of water, I believe.
Yeah.
And it filled everything. It filled the cylinder, it filled the petrol tank, it filled the gearbox. And I think they had quite a job, even getting the thing to run again, never mind make it rideable. So that was a bit of it. You probably didn't see any of that, Matt. You were probably too busy.
No, so we're obviously in front of Harry a little bit. Although I do know the bit of what he's talking about because I also ended up in there on.
Oh right, okay.
On one of the laps, I can't remember what day or lap it was, but Harry's bike went in. So basically, we had to stand sort of top side of this rock. The boys were coming up below us, and below them, they had to come up this rock and just like Peter left off it. And it wasn't nice at all. But if you went too far left too quick, you just went sploosh off the end. And yeah, it caught the sump. There was nothing I could do, and it was just going. So I just launched myself off his rock as quick as I could and managed to get under it as it was sinking. And I had this Sherco in my arms like this, just holding it out the water, and I'm like, God, I hope this isn't full of water. And luckily, I think she kicked straight up and off it went, and it was perfect. It was absolutely fine.
Lucky enough.
But I think another couple of seconds in there, and we'd have had the exact same issue. And like I say, I don't know what happened with Harry. Obviously, I know ultimately it ended up in that pool of water.
Yeah.
But I think fair play to we've all drowned a bike at some point.
Yeah, been there, done that.
It's never a good feeling. It's never easy to fix, and it's always one of them twitchy bum moments, isn't it? When you're like, oh God, have I just written my bike off or whatever? But fair play to Dan and Harry. They're making an amazing team, and I think they did really, really well to keep going and get it sorted. Even if it wasn't perfect, just to get the thing going again to the point that Harry was able to ride it, I think is an achievement.
Yeah. I spoke to Dan briefly about it actually at Inch Perfect, and he said like it was just the clutch wasn't working right. Apparently when they were trying to work on the bike, one of the guys from Honda was there videoing, so they couldn't.
Yeah,
There's a lot of things they would have liked to have done maybe, and they couldn't do.
yeah,
Um, anyway, yeah, but as you say, yeah, fair play to them. Some effort to get it
Yeah.
back into some sort of rideable shape.
definitely.
Um, Even though I think it did cost them a five in the final section, I think it just the bike eventually gave up. And as we all know, a five in Trial 2 is a costly thing to have,
Yeah,
unfortunately.
it is.
But
Even a
um,
beta doesn't like being full of water.
Hey, have you still got your electric motion? How's that underwater?
you can actually ride it right underwater. It's fine.
Is that tried and tested? Have you done it personally?
Tried and tested. Well, no, I haven't done it personally because
Can we have a video?
not. I wouldn't. I wouldn't be the strongest of swimmers.
Swimming
Is it like
hat,
that Danny McCaskill video where he goes
Yes.
through that
through the pump.
Yeah. Yeah. You can actually do that. Yeah. So yeah,
Give the people what they want, Russ.
might have to. I'm not sure. Matthew Alp mightn't like it. But anyway, no, we'll maybe just not do that. I think there is actually a video on, if you look it up on YouTube, I think there is a video of somebody actually doing that on an EM, just riding it into a lake and out completely under the
I've
water.
seen Ollie Smith doing it on one of the bigger
Yeah, they've done it. You can do it on Oxy.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I
yeah,
saw that. Yeah.
yeah.
handlebar deep, wasn't
Um, yeah, not sure I'd like to try it, but anyway.
he?
Right. So what's next then? What do we need to talk about now? What else has happened? Inch perfect.
Uh,
Round one. TrialGB.
more rain.
More rain, heavy rain.
Oh my God. That rain I was at section five. I think most of the entry was at section five actually.
Yeah.
When that really torrential
Yeah, that was awful.
shower.
We were,
Wow. Um,
I don't even have words for that section really.
no,
I thought it was all right. Looked okay from
Was it?
where I
It looked
was.
all right behind the camera, did it?
Looked all right from where I was standing.
looked all right from expert class and below.
Yeah, well, I mean, the expert line was being cleaned.
Yeah,
Yeah, I felt a bit sorry for the guys there because obviously they put a lot of work and nobody can really do anything about the weather. So that was a bit unfortunate, but it is what it is. And it's the same for everybody at the end of the day. But yeah, section five, that rain was just unbelievable. It must have been like it's probably what it was like in Japan.
Yeah, basically, yeah. Very, very
There
similar.
were a lot of very wet riders. I think Hugo, you were probably one of them sitting in that queue.
I was in the queue. Well, I think Matt was probably stood somewhere around there as well.
Yeah, I was absolutely stoked also.
Yeah, and
Sat in the queue, just did
the
like
whole thing, the whole thing with the queue was some of the youth, the trial youth A boys that ride the expert line at section three and four, I think they were kind of hanging back because they wanted to see some of the expert riders ride the section before they did. And then it kind of just snowballed and it came to a bit of a head at section five. And there was some of the parents were saying to me that they had 45 minutes. They were at section five and they had only 45 minutes to complete the rest of the lap.
Mm.
And I mean, there was the last of the youth A riders rode the section, and the first of the TrialGB riders was like sitting there ready to go. It was unbelievable. But anyway, that's that.
Yeah.
Yeah, honestly, that section five. To be fair, I think we were the last of the GB to do that, and Harry actually got like the furthest out of everybody. And I do genuinely think that, and I know it was probably a section that was beyond repair for all the other classes. I don't know because obviously I didn't really see anyone ride them, but I do think that would have possibly gone.
I think it would have got better.
I think with another lap of everyone going at it, and Sunday first lap, I do think at least one of them would have got out of that.
Yeah.
But a lot of people weren't even trying it though. Like when that rain come down, a couple of people started ducking out the queue and taking a five, not even attempting it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so I think
I
we
don't
all
know.
got our head wrapped around the rules a little bit. So we all thought that you couldn't ask for a five.
I thought you had to attempt it, but
So yeah, so which is why we all sort of said we all agreed between us, right?
yeah.
We'll all stick together. We'll
And
all try
I
it.
was
But
there when
then
we
yeah, and then Toby and Jamie just went no
yeah.
chance. See ya. So, like I say, we were all under the impression that you had to make a valid attempt of the section, but then
I
in
thought
the
that
end,
too.
yeah, in the end, we found out that isn't the case, and it was only just for World Championship.
Right.
That's I think that should be the rule. You've at least got to go through the ends,
Yeah, you should have at least.
in my opinion. But
Totally agree. Totally
Yeah.
agree.
Yeah, I
Even
think
if you
so.
accidentally on purpose fall over, like at least
yeah,
you've gone
then
into the section, you've exerted yourself a bit, and you've carried on. You're not just. I think it's just a bit
and
not
like
really in
the queuing thing's consistent then, isn't it? Like
exactly.
if say
Yeah.
there was four sections, everyone was five, and you could skip four, save all your energy for the others, save
Yeah,
40 minutes on time. Just yeah.
yeah,
Yeah. It is a bit of a it's one of those, isn't it? I think it probably just needs a wee bit of a look at that rule. But um other than that, there was a couple of absolute cracking sections. I can't remember the name.
They got good.
Number 11 was quite good. I think I only saw that on the
Yeah,
second day, in fairness, but I think it was changed from after the first day.
yeah. Very different on the second
yeah.
day.
Actually, Harry Turner was probably one of the nicest I saw up that end bit anyway, that sort of little
Yeah,
waterfall at the end. He rode
he
that
had a lovely
really
ride
well.
up there.
Yeah.
Oh.
Um, has anybody had any feedback about the girls and youth B boys, that yellow line?
I
Heard
think
anything through the grapevine about that or
I think everyone was actually pretty happy with. Obviously, a lot of your youth B boys, it's their first time riding with all the adults in it. So I think obviously you've got quite a lot of like nerves and stuff from parents and riders at that point because you're stepping up and you're like, oh my god, like I'm riding next to
Yeah.
Jack Peace, Harry Hemingway, all these boys. Um, but I think from what I've heard on the whole, people were pretty happy with it. I think the girls were saying, well, you look at the scores for the girls, and to be fair,
yeah,
like, what were they
They're
on?
about
They were in the 30s, 40s, something like
yeah,
that.
yeah. I
I would
thought the
say
scores were fair enough.
it's about perfect. If they're all dropping that, like it's
yeah, I think so.
I would say the
Yeah,
level's about good. They're not having an easy day, but if you're dropping 30 on, you're still cleaning things, aren't you?
yeah,
Yeah. I think they did
yeah.
a good job. Yeah.
I think on the first day, second, third, and fourth in the Trial GB women were tied on 53 marks.
Mm.
Mm.
They were all incredible, like three riders in the same marks. Um,
Yeah, I think there was a bit of drama went on between them top three in the women, but I'm not too sure exactly what happened. So
oh well,
I won't
I mean, we're allowed to
divulge too
gossip.
much. But yeah,
We're allowed
I
to
don't know.
gossip
I
if we
think there
want.
was some. I don't know. From what I was told, I think there was a bit of sort of like people accidentally, intentionally getting in the way when riders were in the sections and sort of
Oh, really?
trying to be a bit dirty about it all, really, which I don't really think there's not a need for. But and then I think there was an observer that made a decision that there was then sort of convinced by another rider's minder that it wasn't the right decision, and then it got changed, then it got changed back, and I don't know. It was a right old mess, I think. But
Right. Okay.
yeah, women, mate. Women.
Right. No, I'm just interested because I need to know what I need to look out for at the end of July. Um, right. Okay. So I need to spend most of the day following the flipping women round.
Yeah,
Hey, you'll get a
just.
name for yourself doing that.
Yeah. Find yourself in the wrong
As long
end
as
of the.
it's not the youth class, you're fine, mate. Don't worry about that.
Yeah. You find yourself in the wrong end of a restraining order very quickly.
Yeah.
Yeah. Enough of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
It's gone down a whole other avenue now. Right. Back to trials.
bringing it back. It's a hard. I think they did for the first one with all them classes combined.
Yeah. Yeah.
Then with the weather thrown in and the terrain they've got on offer, they didn't do a bad job really as the first one to try to get all them different sections in the same place.
Yeah.
They are
No,
they're pretty
I
limited.
think I thought it was, yeah, I thought they did a great
Yeah,
job.
they
I certainly didn't
unfortunately
envy them, as you say, being the first round.
no.
Yeah.
With all that new sort of format and everything else. Fair play to
Mm.
them for taking that on.
It's a bit
Um,
unfortunate. Like when it rains that bad there, they end up being quite limited with what's usable and what like the banks where they
Yeah.
were trying to probably trial two, trial GB, expert trial GB women maybe a bit. They just like turn to a bottomless thing of mud and you just can't get anywhere.
It's
yeah,
just not a great
Therefore,
wet venue, is it?
no, you just can't do any. It's that type of mud. You just can't get any drive out of
yeah,
it,
it's that sort of clay type.
and there's no difficult. They didn't really have much else. Well, they couldn't make the changes that quick. They made it for Sunday. It was a lot better Sunday, but
Yeah,
Mm.
Saturday for us it was sort of a trial of half the sections really in the end because there was just half that everyone was five in, a couple
yeah,
that everyone cleaned, and it come down to like very few really in the end, which is why it was so close.
Mm.
yeah,
But
yeah.
it's
I
just
don't know.
No,
unfortunate.
it's close.
Like you
I
say, you can't
completely
control the
agree
weather.
with Hugo. I think they did a great job under the circumstances of the weather and everything else. I think they did a really, really good job. And like you say, being the first round as well, you've got all
Mm.
the unknowns of how it's going to work and whatever. But I'm not
And
the
not
only
only
person
that,
that.
you'd a lot of people coming there probably with from WhatsApp groups with preconceived ideas of what was going to
Yeah,
happen and everything else. So
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
The one thing, I don't know. It's a really weird one, and I'm not the only person that thought it. I just didn't really feel like it. It didn't feel like a British Championship, and I thought the
that
atmosphere. There was no atmosphere, and I don't know whether that's
I think.
because we were all parked down at the bottom of the. And I know you've only got what
Yeah.
you've got, and all the parking's at the bottom, and everything else is up at the top. I get
Mm.
it totally, but I just thought the atmosphere was rubbish.
Yeah, I
I
tend
think maybe the
I
weather
don't
probably
I
had
can't
something to do with that too.
put
Possibly.
my finger on why, but I would agree with you. I
Mm.
don't know if
And I'm not.
the
That is no disrespect to Matt Alp and
no
his team or anyone at Inch. Like nothing at all. I think they did a
no
great job. But I don't know what it was. I don't know whether it was because there was more people but more spread out, or I
I don't
don't
know
know.
if
I couldn't put my finger on it, but I just didn't. I thought the atmosphere was non-existent, and I didn't enjoy myself in the competition like I normally do. I
mm,
normally love it. I normally absolutely love it, and I must
yeah,
admit, I just wasn't. I don't know. I just didn't feel particularly keen, and I didn't really feel like anyone watching was particularly keen either.
mm.
Yeah,
I think like you say
strange.
the weather didn't help. The
Yeah, definitely.
this when when you're seeing the best in the country sliding around like they're trying to ride on ice
Yeah,
in like, knee deep in shite,
yeah,
looking like amateurs, it doesn't like sell the sport in a great way probably to spectators either.
yeah,
Maybe I think that for me, like you say, it's not anyone's fault. You can't help it. They
mm,
did the best the cards they were dealt, but I
yeah,
think that's where it comes from for me. Like it felt like because of how the sections had developed and how they were riding, it felt like a club trial sort of thing.
yeah. Exactly. It felt like a really hard S3 round or something.
Yeah, I
Um,
was crap, so I can't say much, but
we weren't much better, mate.
but then like to their credit, they changed a lot for the Sunday, and it was
Yeah,
on our route anyway. It was a much better trial. Like you could
yeah.
actually have a good go at the sections. They were
Yeah,
rideable.
bit more
Like
I think they
rideable.
had no choice but to change them because, like you
no,
say,
but fair for doing it.
yeah. Oh, that's definitely, definitely.
Yeah, it's a big call to make the change.
I think that one thing
Um,
I was saying to you before we started recording, Russ, is like I'm all for it being like make it as hard as you like, but in a way that you can have a go at something.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
nobody enjoys a hill climb where you can't get past the first 10% sort of thing, do they? That's
mm,
just a difficult one.
yeah.
yeah. I just really hope this weekend's going to be a lot better.
Yeah,
That's what I hope. And hopefully the weather's going to be great. We're all going to come home with a suntan, and everyone's going to have enjoyed themselves. That's excited. What my hope is.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're not at Hookwoods in March.
So. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure they'll have found some big muddy puddle for us to ride through, no doubt.
It would be right not to, would it?
I did see Sam's brother put a post up on Instagram
saw that. Yeah.
The section with there was the section that you and Jack Dance had that big crash off last year, the log.
Oh, we had to jump off that log.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it looks like they're going up an even bigger bit of that.
Sweet.
This year. So it'll be interesting to see how that works out.
It's quite a theme of you jumping off stuff.
Honestly, I had zero choice. I was going whether I wanted to or not.
It wasn't a case of he jumped off. He was it wasn't did he fall. It was more like he was pushed.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. Luckily, it sort of seems to be fairly balanced with like I've a few heroic catches and then a few that it's like, oh my god, how has Matt survived that?
But how has he not got broken ankles?
Yeah, that's right. I've had them.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I think it'll be harder for that yellow line this weekend. I think it's a more technical venue. I think it's not as maybe the sections at Inch Perfect were quite sort of flowing for them.
Yellow line being it's all changed.
Trial 2 women and the Youth B boys.
Right, sound, yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're probably right.
Yeah, so I think it might be a slightly harder weekend for them. Maybe, I don't know.
It's a strange one, though, isn't it? Because at Hookwoods, they've got such a good variety of stuff, but it's hard trying to get that variety in the same area.
In the same area.
That you want GB, Trial 2,
that's the difficult.
et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's just, it's hard to do it, isn't it?
It's hard to get a section where one or other of the lines isn't compromised in some way. Yeah, I know that at the minute from looking at stuff. It's like, oh my God, what are we going to do here?
I mean, obviously, we had a youth round up at Shilton last weekend. And like you say, same again, you're trying to cater for everybody in a small area that your riders can do in a minute. Because at youth rounds, for some reason, although it's all the same under the same banner this year, everyone else is a minute and a half, and the kids are on a minute, which I don't really understand. But there we go. It's an age-old problem, isn't it? Setting any old section for a club trial, you're trying to cater for every ability in a 20-meter radius. It's hard, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
Looked like them youth rounds went pretty well, Matt, from what I saw.
Yeah, I must admit, I didn't really play much of a part in it this year because I've had that much on with work and minding and this, that, and the other. But I went up and helped out in the sense of like just walked what the boys had set out and sort of voiced my opinion on what I thought. And to be fair to them, they've done a great job, and I've not heard any sort of bad feedback. I feel like the biggest problem with what they've done was, in my opinion, there's a couple of problems with what they've done with the series. I think there's no, you've not got your Ewan Sims and all of them boys for your little ones to look up to now and go, wow, I want to be as good as him. You're looking up, and no disrespect to the riders, but you're looking up to the lesser of the B class riders. They are your goal for the kids, and I feel like they need more than that. And I possibly think the whole sort of, I think it's a bit easy
in them youth rounds.
I'm not being funny. Like, obviously, like a couple of our local boys rode in the, I don't even know what the class is called anymore, but what would have been C big wheel. Obviously, the clubs and stuff have been sent guidelines for how to set the sections, what sort of like an idea of how to help the clubs do it, and the guidance is basically make it as steady as you can. They want winners going around on nothing, and the top 5 to be on less than 10. And I just think I just personally think it needs to be more than that. I know when Hugo, Toby, Billy, Jack Price, all them boys were riding youth nationals. My God, like the lads were winning on 30 odds because it was solid.
Yeah.
And that's, you look at where Hugo is now, you look at where Toby is, Jack Peace, everybody. It was, I'm not being funny, like if, I don't know, everyone's got their own ideas, haven't they? And I get we want more kids to come into the sport and everything, but I just think the kids need a bit of progression. The British Championship's meant to be the pinnacle of the sport. It's not a seeding. Club trials is to seed people into your British rounds and your national events. It's not. It's British Championships isn't like, hey up Billy, do you want hey up little Billy, do you want to go ride a trial for your first time? Let's go to a British Championship.
Yeah, no, it shouldn't be like that.
That was great fun. I rode round with a smile on my face and I didn't put my feet down all day. It's not how a British Championship should be.
No. But I think, I mean, it's the first year with quite a major change to all the age categories and all that type of stuff. So
there's learning to be done as you go along, isn't it?
Really? Yeah, 100%, 100%.
I think it needs probably a year to sort of flesh all that stuff out and get it working.
I just think there's a massive. I think people massively underestimate what a lot of the kids are capable of.
Yeah.
And what they're happy to do as well.
Like, and how not only that, but how quickly they will adapt
and learn.
When I've done a few coaching sessions with some of the local lads around here who would have been at the round, and like the sections you can set them out after a couple of hours are like way harder than what they would do when they turned up. Yeah,
exactly.
Just by a couple of pointers and encouraging them.
Yeah,
basically.
And you imagine, I mean, if you were doing that with a couple of kids like every week, how quickly, how quickly they would progress.
They'll do it with each other as well. Like if you point them all at it, a bit of competition, they'll all go for it. One will do it.
Oh,
a couple of laps, they'll all do it.
Exactly.
No substitute for peer pressure.
I know peer pressure's got me in some problems over
here.
Oh yeah, been there too. Right. Anyway, right. That's that. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be at Inch Perfect Hookwood this week.
Why not? What else are you doing that's more important than the British Championship?
I know.
You're Mr. Trials Talk. Who's going to stand there like this with that massive phone?
I know. You're just going to have to put up with Joel this week. He'll be there with his camera and his phone and everything. Yeah. Flights were just ridiculous. So yeah, it was like 350 quid for a flight. So I just thought that's a bit much.
That's it. So like and subscribe, everybody, because we need to be able to get Russell on the plane more often.
We need to. Basically, that's basically what
link in the description.
That's basically we need to do a crowdfund or something. And that, and plus my round is literally just round the corner as well. So
of course, because is that the weekend after America? Or is it the weekend
I think there's a weekend in between. I think
that's it.
I think there's a weekend in between. Yeah, it's last weekend in July.
Yeah.
So
I'm committed now, Russ. I've booked my ferry.
You booked the ferry? Good man.
I haven't booked anything for it yet. Have you got a spare room, Russ? I might need somewhere to stay.
Might be able to sort it. Hugo will let you in the tent.
My trailer, Matt.
What are you doing now? Because you haven't got your van anymore.
No, to be honest, we didn't really get organised enough for Inch Perfect, so we're in a tent. But we've got a new improved setup this weekend.
Go on.
Transport and a trailer, really.
Nice.
Just for 4 weekends of the year to have another van sat there, like just seems a bit of
Yeah,
a waste.
getting expensive now, isn't it? It's
Fine, just like you don't use the big vans like you do. You just literally use it for British Championship.
yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah, I know. And then somebody gets you to come to Northern Ireland for a round.
Yeah.
Just thought,
Uh,
as
I
long as you make sure you book the weather to be nice, we'll be all good.
yeah.
well, I'm trying my best. Anytime a cloud comes over, I'm blowing out the window, trying to blow it away.
Can we just confirm a mind is allowed on bikes at your round?
Yes,
Because
yes,
that is a stupid idea to
yeah.
stop us.
I think
Fair
that
enough
was
at
some.
Hook, but
Yeah,
Hookwoods, totally agree. Totally
yeah,
agree that Hookwoods make you ride round.
didn't get it for the first round. To be honest, didn't
Inch
understand.
Perfect. That was a stupid idea.
but did you not have a bike, Inch Perfect?
Yeah, but obviously we weren't meant to be, were we?
What were you complaining about then? You got one, didn't you?
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It was a stupid idea.
I think it's something to do. There's a public footpath, I think, that runs through that venue, and they don't want like bikes in public and everything else. So I think that was part of the reasoning behind it, which I suppose is understandable. But yes, bikes, I can pretty much separate the course sort of in between from where the public are going to be. So I said it doesn't really matter. I mean, the lap. I did it. I did a lap round there last week, and I think it was 2.8 kilometers. But if to walk it is wouldn't be that far. That's the sort of riding loop.
Yeah,
But it would be probably half that, um, just on foot. So it's coming together,
sweet.
and found out last weekend actually. So I have now got the use at the venue of a very large shed. It's about 60 meters by 20 meters. So
Got an indoor section going in.
got an indoor section going in.
No, you've not. Have you actually?
Yeah, gonna have an indoor section. Yeah.
How many years has it been since Northern Ireland's had
A British round.
an
It's
indoor trial is what I was
Oh, an
going for.
indoor. Well, there was an indoor in, I think it was '05 and '06. There was indoors
Right.
in Belfast in the Odyssey Arena.
Yeah.
Um, and that would have been the same for British round as well. The last one was in '06 at the same venue,
Right.
at Dunmore. But there was a last sort of big event would have been the World Round in 2009. There was a World Round. But
No.
so yeah, first I think that's a first for the British Championship. Don't think they've had an indoor section before.
Yeah.
So,
Pioneering, aren't you? Go on, son.
yeah.
It's
So
what the sport needs. More Russells. That's what I'm saying. We need to get you an FIM t-shirt. Go rock
oh
that
no
boat,
no
mate.
no 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 no. That's
we
not
have
my
to do like
style.
a bar one end of it, Russ, with like for all the people, then a section the other end.
Well, I'm gonna there's gonna be like a food van on site all week, all weekend, coffee van. I'm gonna get some chairs and tables. We're actually gonna do on the Friday night. We're actually gonna do for our season. Our season runs a little bit differently. It runs sort of through the academic year rather than the
Right.
calendar
Oh
year.
yeah.
So our Ulster Championship season finished in April.
Yeah.
So we're going to do the prize giving for that on the Friday night. So there'll be a few people about and get some chairs and tables, put them in the shed. Um, Possibly even a musician. Don't know if that's going to happen. I'm going to have them on the Saturday night, so there'll be a bit of music and stuff on the Saturday night. Just a guy with a guitar, playing a few tunes for people. Try and create a bit of atmosphere,
That
get a bit of something
You know,
going. So
exactly what it needs, in my
yeah,
opinion.
we'll see. We'll see what we can do. Get something
I'm
going.
sure you'll do a good job of it. I'm sure.
Oh yeah. Looking forward to it.
Well, yeah, fingers crossed. I'm starting to panic slightly about sections and stuff, but we'll be all
Nah,
right.
you'll be
We'll be
fine. You'll
good.
be fine.
We'll be good. We'll be good. I went round with a spray can and a drill, so I've like been drilling rocks and spraying them so as I can tell where the holes are when I go to put the markers in and stuff. So all the things people don't think about.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so that's that
Wicked.
in a nutshell. When are you coming over, Hugo? Do you book what coming over on Friday? Are you coming
I-
from Holyhead?
I'm going Holyhead to Dublin
Dublin, yeah. Okay.
and then driving up. I think we get to Dublin like midday or something. So it's like an hour and
On
20.
Friday?
Yeah. So I'll be
Right.
there like early afternoon.
Yeah, it's about probably 2 hours from Dublin Port
Oh, okay.
up to the venue. So yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. And you don't know whether you're coming yet or not, Matt.
Oh no, I'll be coming. I've just not booked anything yet.
Are you
It's,
minding though?
yeah, well, I guess so.
Right, okay.
Um, I presume I am. I don't know. If not, might make an appearance in the expert class. Why not? Eh?
Yeah, go for it.
Just come and make some noise.
Entries close on the 13th of July. Had to think
Right.
what month we're in there. Yeah,
Yeah.
entries close on the 13th of July. They're open at the minute, so
Right.
get those
Okay.
entries in
I
if
know.
you haven't.
I think realistically, I'll be on minding duties.
Yeah.
It's in my diary to mind there, so I'm pretty certain I'm coming.
Good.
Coming with my bum bag. But yeah, so I presume I'll be flying in on Friday at some point. So
You'll be fresh out of America, so you'll be calling that a fanny pack by the time you get to.
Yeah.
yeehaw. So yeah, there we go.
Right.
Yeah.
Sweet. I reckon that's us. Thank you both very much for your time.
No
Good to see
problem.
all the good good
Sorry,
to
I
see
messed
the.
you all about with the times. I've
No
Oh
been
worries.
no,
chasing my ass for the last 3 weeks at work. It's been awful.
I'm sure.
Spot
Anyway,
on,
right.
boys.
We are
Sounds.
digressing. Let's wrap it up. Thank you very much for watching. I don't know, you probably switched off when all that crap was being talked there anyway. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe, do all that good stuff. And we will see you in the next one.
Peace out.
Hit it,
Cheers.
hit it hard.
Hit it hard.
Good luck at the weekend. Good luck at the weekend.
Yeah.
Cheers. See you in a
See you
bit.
the weekend, Matt.
Yeah, man. See you then.